Hello, everyone. Welcome to Celsius 233, your go-to place for fiction book summaries. Today, we will explore the depths of Ticket number 9672 by Jules Verne. Ticket number 9672 by Jules Verne, published in 1887, is a tale set in a small Norwegian village. It follows the story of Hulda Hansen, who anxiously awaits the return of her betrothed, Ole Kamp, from a dangerous fishing expedition. Filled with suspense, love, and the challenges of hope against adversity, the story unfolds with the arrival of a mysterious stranger and the ticking clock of fate. Plot summary. In the quaint village of Dal, nestled in the heart of Norway, the Hansen family ran a modest yet comfortable inn. Hulda Hansen, a young woman of grace and beauty, lived with her mother and her brother, Joel. The small village life was simple, but it brimmed with warmth, hope, and dreams, especially for Hulda, who was eagerly awaiting the return of her betrothed, Ole Kamp. Ole was a brave fisherman who had ventured to the perilous fishing banks of Newfoundland to earn a fortune for their future together. His letters came regularly at first, filled with tales of the sea and promises of a swift return. Yet as time passed, the letters ceased, leaving Hulda with a heart full of worry and a mind plagued by dark dreams. Days in Dal were filled with preparations for Ole's return. Joel, Hulda's protective brother, busied himself with the wedding arrangements, hoping to lift his sister's spirits. The villagers were excited about the grand celebration that would bring joy to their humble hamlet. Yet, beneath this veil of festivity lay an undercurrent of fear and anxiety. The sea was a cruel mistress, and every day without news from Ole deepened the shadow over Hulda's heart. One misty afternoon, a stranger arrived at the inn. Wrapped in a cloak that shielded him from the chill of the Norwegian winds, he demanded the best room and the finest food the inn had to offer. His demeanor was cold, his eyes sharp and calculating. He spent hours walking around the inn, inspecting every corner with an unsettling intensity. His presence unsettled Hulda and her mother, Dame Hansen, who watched him with growing unease. When he finally introduced himself, he revealed his name to be Sandgoest, a name that carried an ominous weight in Dame Hansen's mind. Sandgoest's visit was no coincidence. He had come with a purpose that he kept hidden behind his stern gaze and cryptic words. He spoke little, but his actions spoke volumes. He measured the inn with his eyes, assessed its value with the air of a man accustomed to weighing and valuing properties. His demeanor suggested he had come to collect something, and Hulda feared he might bring bad news about Ole. The dark cloud of his presence loomed over the inn, casting a shadow that seemed to dim even the brightest fire in the hearth. Days turned into weeks, and the absence of news about Ole gnawed at Hulda's hope. The village, once bustling with the excitement of an impending wedding, fell into a quiet lull. Joel tried to comfort his sister, assuring her that delays at sea were common. Yet even his words began to sound hollow as time dragged on without a single letter or a sign of the ship Viking. Hulda spent hours by the window, eyes scanning the horizon as if willing Ole to appear on the road, hale and hearty, ready to fulfill his promise. The villagers began to whisper. Rumors of shipwrecks and storms reached Dal, carried by the winds from far-off lands. Hulda refused to believe them, clinging to the memory of Ole's strong arms around her and his voice promising to return. But doubt crept in, like a thief in the night, stealing into her dreams and turning them into nightmares. The once vibrant joy in her eyes faded, replaced by a deep, unspoken sorrow. One evening, Sandgoest approached Dame Hansen. Their conversation was brief but heavy with implication. He presented a ticket number 9672, and a tale of debt. Ole, in his quest to secure a future for Hulda and himself, had fallen into debt with Sandgoest. The ticket was a grim reminder of a loan Ole had taken to finance his voyage, a loan that was now due. If Ole failed to return, the inn, the family's sole means of livelihood, would pass into Sandgoest's hands. Dame Hansen's stoic demeanor crumbled under the weight of this revelation. The inn, their home, and Hulda's future all hung in the balance. Hulda, upon learning of the ticket, felt her world shatter. It was not just the fear of losing the inn that tormented her, but the growing certainty that Ole might never return. She clung to the ticket, now a symbol of her hope and despair, a piece of paper that held her dreams and fears in its ink numbers. Joel, ever the protector, vowed to fight for their home. He began to seek out information, to find any way to hold off Sandgoest and give Ole time to return. He traveled to neighboring towns, inquiring about the Viking and any news of its fate. Yet, each journey brought back only silence and more questions. The sea had kept its secrets well, and it seemed unwilling to release them. As the deadline approached, Hulda grew more resolute. She would not let the inn fall into Sandgoest's hands without a fight. With Joel by her side, she stood ready to confront the man who had brought such sorrow into their lives. Sandgoest, however, was unmoved. To him, it was merely a matter of business, a transaction that would soon be completed. The day finally came when Sandgoest demanded his due. The villagers gathered at the inn, their hearts heavy with grief for Hulda and her family. Just as Sandgoest prepared to claim the inn, a cry rang out from the road. A figure appeared on the horizon, limping but unmistakable Ole. Against all odds, he had returned. Ole's tale was one of survival and determination. The Viking had been caught in a terrible storm, wrecked upon the rocky shores of a desolate island. He and a handful of his crew had fought against the elements, struggling to return home. His return was a miracle, and with it came the salvation of the Hansen family. Ole repaid the debt with the remnants of his earnings, securing the inn and their future. With Sandgoest defeated, the village of Dal rejoiced. The wedding, once shrouded in uncertainty, became a celebration of love's triumph over adversity. Hulda and Ole were wed, their union blessed by the hope and perseverance that had carried them through the darkest of times. The inn, now filled with laughter and joy, stood as a testament to the enduring power of love and the human spirit's resilience. That's a wrap, but the journey doesn't end. Explore more books by Jules Verne. You'll find the details in the description or on Celsius 233. Remember, while our summaries capture the essence, they can never replace the full experience of reading the book. If this summary intrigued you, consider diving into the complete story, buy the book, and immerse yourself in Jules Verne's original work. Bye-bye, take care, have fun.